Welcome back to America Tonight. We've been talking a lot about various things related to the oil industry. Of course, we have been, for everything from what's gas in your neighborhood to where are we headed to the craziness of the crude spill the other day and that horrific derailment in West Virginia. But wait till you hear about this story. This really tops everything. I was in Midland, Texas about a year ago. I was on my way to Marfa, and I thought it was just so wild. And my nephew was with me, where we saw all the oil wells, and he was asking me a lot of questions about the oil wells. And can you own one? And what if you own one? And how do you know how much oil's there? He barraged me with questions, so much so that we went and talked to someone that had a well. Well, Mark Patton is joining us now. He's with Quest Automated Services. And check this out. The company's got to be booming, and it's got to be booming because with the oil industry booming, they put monitors on wells that alert the owner in real time anytime the well is malfunctioning. Because like I said, people have oil wells someplace and they live someplace else and they don't know what's there and what isn't there. Mark, thanks for coming on America Tonight.
Well, thanks for having me. How are you, Kate?
I'm excellent. So it is really cool to see, by the way, all those oil wells in Midland, and there's other places in the country where they have them, or just one here or there. But how do people know how much oil is coming in and out? Is that part of the problem? They don't really have a great system for it?
In most cases, they don't. In most cases, they actually use what's called a plumb bob, which is, in all intents and purposes, a tape measure, and that's how they gauge it.
Wow. That's how they gauge it now in 2015?
Yes, that is exactly. And it goes even worse than that. They actually, when the custody control is changed, that somebody comes and actually picks up the well, a lot of times the owners of the sites or the manager of the sites aren't even on site. And so they do the same reading with the plumb bob, and they write an IOU of what they take, and they put that in a mason jar taped to the side of a ladder rack.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
Yes, it's one of the last honor systems I've seen.
So the thing that you developed, tell us all about it, because I think there's video in it too, if you want it, right?
Yes, there is video from the security. The best analogy I have to describe what we are is that we're like ADT for your oil well sites. It's kind of crazy. You know, most people nowadays have some type of security on their home to protect their assets. Well, in today's standards, a lot of these operators do not have any type of protection or systems or monitoring or video monitoring. So with our solution, what we're able to do is be able to tell them in real time what their tank levels are, if their tanks were to rupture or their tanks were to start overfilling, which a lot of people aren't accustomed with how this works. What they do is called flooding the well, and they take the water and then they take the oil and it flips the tank on the oil side, and the water is recycled down the hole. So, but this water is highly toxic. They actually call it salt water, and if that is to rupture or leak outside of its secondary containment, anything on the ground will be dead for 20 years without soil remediation. So it's very costly from an EPA standard to do it. So with our solution, you're able to tell in real time if that tank's going to a critical level, it's going to overflow right out the top, and that's what they do. And it will shut down the site, alert them, and allow them to get in front of a disaster before it would ever occur.
Wow. How did you develop this? What made you think of this?
Well, you know, I've been in technology for a long time, and I was shown this particular issue, and it was very, very odd for me to see when an industry has not been inundated technology, to find something what I call is back in the days of SneakerNet, where literally it's the mail system is how you're getting a letter to somebody.
Right.
So we saw a tremendous opportunity to help automate this industry. And one of the things we were finding is that the apprehension was because a lot of these guys are just old school oil guys, and they just didn't have the technology prowess or people internally to do that for them. And it was very costly to do that. You'd had to bring on additional staff, buy the technology, which is expensive, and try to do that. Because there is companies out with automation, but they're typically the larger companies, not the smaller companies with 1 to 100 wells. And so what we did is we took that and we decided, let's make it easy for them. Let's make it like ADT, where you just pay one time a monthly fee, and you get all the benefits without the headache. So, for example, if a device was to die or fail, you don't have to send somebody in from your team out there. That's on Quest. Quest will roll out there. They'll fix the device at no cost to you, and you're just paying every month for the service, kind of like leasing a car.
Mm. And the reaction to it has been really, really pretty good, I heard, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, the customers love the fact that we're reducing all that headache. And, I mean, just one oil spill, and everybody out there has had some type of spill at some time or occasion, and it's very costly and you lose production. When your well's shut down, you're not producing anything, and you're cleaning up, and your guys are not doing things that are proactive. They're doing things that are reactive. So we help save a ton of money for them by being proactive rather than reactive.
So the tank level monitoring is important. The emergency shutdown, once it gets to that point, it shuts down so we don't have all that spill. And then the alarms too, right? You've got that, and It's got temperatures, right? Because temperatures can affect it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And motor control?
Too.
Yeah.
We do pressure. A lot of times they have these poly lines that are stretched across farmland or ranch land. And the chemical I was just telling you, it's called salt water. If that pressure was to, like, let's say the line breaks, just poly line. If it was ever to break, let's say a truck rolled over or a tractor rolled over, it would spray that all over. Well, if we detect that the pressure has changed on a variable, we'll actually shut down all the pumps that are injecting that and allow them to get in front of it and repair that line.
Are the wells, are they all over the place? Are they in Texas? Where are the majority of people that are now starting to find you?
Well, obviously, we're in Texas, we're in Oklahoma, so we've found great success in those two states, and we're expanding beyond that. So it's every one of our clients that we have. The response we get is that this is the best decision they've ever made. At first, they're apprehensive because it's new, it's different, it's a change, and once they have that, they're like, I don't know how I've ever lived without this.
So would you say, this is interesting as a business owner, and especially I love the analogy to ADT, because, what they do is somebody in the neighborhood, they'll find a neighborhood where a lot of people have had things happen. They find people that will get ADT, and then when they started, it was word of mouth. Do you find that a lot of yours is word of mouth?
Yeah, absolutely. Our current client base gives us referrals. It's stories like what you're doing here that get the word out about what these capabilities are. And then, people learn. A lot of people realize there is automation out there. That's not new. It's nothing new to an industry. But our model is new to an industry, which is just the benefits, the ADT. Most people wouldn't put home alarm systems in because you sign a contract with them for 3 to 5 years with an alarm system because it costs, several thousands of dollars to install a home alarm system in your house or home automation in your house. Yeah. But if somebody showed up and they said, hey, I'll get, for $30 a month, I give you all these things. You can control your thermostat in your home. Would you like that? It makes it a lot easier. So our model is very unique. We've never seen anybody in our industry with our model, and that is why we're finding a lot of success.
So when something happens, is the owner gets a text message, right, and then they can check the video feed?
Well, it depends on their solution, but if they have a video solution with there for security, for theft, for example, they can actually go in with the camera. We have a PTZ, which is a pan tilt zoom camera, so they can control it. They can look around, look at the tank. They can look and see why somebody set their alarm off. We have sensors that if somebody was to drive through their gate, the camera would track them and follow whoever that is. It sends that video to the owner-operator or whoever's responsible for that video interaction, and they're able to make a threat assessment at that point. Do they need to call the police? Do they need to go out there? So it gives them a lot more. These sites are extremely remote. Sometimes hundreds of miles for someone to get out to them. So we're able to give them eyes on an incident in real time.
So when you pulled this whole thing together and then you actually, as you said, you like technology and you're in that space, and then you see this problem and you come up with a solution. When you find the first time when you put this all together and you put it on a well, what was that like for you?
Exhilarating. It was fun. I mean, we were, getting to watch this stuff work, and you see it in real time and interaction, and know that what you're building is actually protecting your environment, helping to reduce risk for the owner and operator, and you're protecting their assets and their investment. It's very exhilarating.
Yeah, so it's a win all the way around, right? Because then as you said, the EPA, the rules, and all this oil splashing out before. I mean, how often do wells have that happen? And the answer is quite a bit. It can.
Absolutely, quite often. Usually when the spill happens, it'll happen into a secondary containment. which is, you have your primary, which is your tanks, and your secondary containment is, a lot of people see these, they're called batteries. And it's spelled just like the battery it is, but this is what they call the lingo in the industry. And it's supposed to spill over and contain into that secondary containment. But if you don't get in front of it in time, it will quickly get out of that secondary containment. If you've got a nearby river, you've got a farmland, you've got livestock, it can kill in an instant really quickly. So having this type of solution is I believe what we've created is absolutely critical for anybody in the industry.
Oh, yeah. Great to certainly save all the way around and then to prevent all those accidents from happening, too. Mark Patton, Quest Automated Services. You can go to questautomatedservices.com and check it out. Mark, thanks for coming on the show.
Well, thanks for having me. Have a wonderful day.
You too.